angels. It's a funny thing, but it's like this is a pasuk. It says, I'm going to send you a malach. It's interesting. I don't want to get into this now, but maybe at the end of this year, this time, sorry, I'm late. But if I have time at the end, I want to a little bit get back to this. There's an interesting machlokes. If you look in the Ramban and Rashi, later in the Parshas, Rashi says that the Eibusha said, I'm going to send an angel, but the Eibusha never did send an angel. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu said, I don't want to hear about angels. So the question is, what happened when? The Ramban here actually argues with Rashi, and he says, Rashi is not. That's not that way. That the Eibishter said, "Hine shalech malach," and Lepoil Moshe Rabbeinu said, "I don't want to see a malach." The Eibishter couldn't argue with Moshe Rabbeinu, but it says that when Yeshua, when they had the first sort of little setback in Ai, that Yeshua met this Tsar Tzava, and he said, like, "Halonu ator l'tzarenu," like, who you do? Who are you?
For us or for them?
Yeah. And he said, Malach Hashem Tzvakas, I'm the angel.
Maybe it's the same Malach that Hashem wanted to say.
So the Ramban says, this is Hineh Noiche Shalech Malach, that's the Malach. That the Gemara says that this Malach is Matratron, Sheshmoi Keshem Koinem. That means that Matratron is like, he's like, you see Elikus, like there's no, it's like, there's no Hester, there's no Helam, you see, so. But Moshe Rabbeinu never wanted to have, because Moshe Rabbeinu was a Spaklaria Meida. Moshe Rabbeinu was
a tough angel.
No, he's not a tough guy, but still, Moshe Rabbeinu wanted the Eibush himself. Moshe Rabbeinu was Zoiche that the entire time, we don't want to deal with angels. But it's not that there is no angels. Really, Yeshua actually dealt with this angel that we're dealing with here in the pasuk. To bring you the place that I prepared. Which place did David to prepare? And it's Yisrael, presumably. Don't play games with him, because my name is in him. The Gemara says that he's matatran. He's like sarapnim. He's like, don't play games with him.
Amen.
How is this name in Matatron?
Matatron, a shaka, it's a numerical value. Kim shamoya tishma bekoilo v'zis kol asher adabe v'yafti esavecha v'tzarti esarecha yelech balach l'panecha v'yachav v'mori hachiti v'aprizi v'aknani v'chiv v'yibusi v'chadativ. I'm going to wipe them out. Loitza shtachim v'lehem loitza v'leisatzak v'masem tehoris teresim shabbat hashem v'tzivesem v'atam hashem alakechem berech l'aslach m'chaves ma'emecha v'asiroisim machalo mikir becho.
Why did Moshe want the mouth to deal with the guy?
Why do Moshe Rabbeinu care so much? This is something which, you need the Alter Rebbe's Torah for, like, that whole thing, like the Alter Rebbe, ich will nicht dein Ganeden, ich will nicht dein Olam Haba, I don't want your Malach.
It's saying the Agada, the lovely part. Oh, you did Malach, like I saw up that when we had the Gula from Mitzrayim, that it was Hashem.
But here it says, the Eibush says, Hine Neiche Shaleach Malach. And what's so bad? The Malach will kill him. Wait, what do you care? The job is done. It's done. What do you care? No, Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Imein panecha holchim, al taleinu mizeh."
They want Hashem Himself.
And then the Eibush says, "I agree, I acquiesce."
And this was the only time, but not by the Makos and not by Kriya Shamsuf was there a Malach. Why is Hashem suddenly sending a Malach now?
Very good question.
This is right. Could be because this is after the Chet. There's a good question. Why would the Eibush say I'm sending a Malach? But back to your question, though, that the opposite is true of what we're saying, that Makas B'Chodesh was Loya de Malach V'Lo de Sorah, and all the Meforshim discuss it. Why was it that couldn't be Loya de Malach V'Lo de Sorah? The Alter Rebbe has a mime about it. The Alter Rebbe says that all the answers in the Meforshim is, the Meforshim say, because a Malach maybe might not know. There were a lot of Mamzedim over there, so only the Eibishter knows, like, what was really happening. So the Alter Rebbe says, a couple Malachim know these tricks too. They know them also. So, but no, it doesn't say it. The emphasis is only by Yetzias Mitzrayim, by Makas B'Chodesh.
Well,
Okay,
they're still in Mitzrayim.
Right,
They're
right.
still on their way out.
The English Gutnick comment,
yeah.
she goes into the whole spin of it.
On this.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
About the stars.
Probably, yeah. So Rashi has Asher Echinoisi, Asher Zimanti Loses Lachem. Simple Rashi. A lot of times in the Rashis, they ever like to pick a very like innocent Rashi, very innocent looking Rashi. Asher Zimanti Loses Lachem. Zeu Pshuter. Medrash, what's the matter? Shalamokim Asher Echinoisi, Kvar Mekoi Mikenegdoi. וזהו, אחד מהקרואות שהאמנו שבייס המקדש של מעלה מלכו כנגד בייס המקדש של מטה. The sideways words plus the emphasis is my words. You'll see soon why I'm emphasizing the brackets is because according to one gear said these words beyis hamikdash doesn't exist there. The Rebbe writes he has a manuscript, an original manuscript from Rashi in his library which doesn't have beyis hamikdash. He also has, the Rebbe says, a print, one of the early prints of Rashi that was signed, that it was Muge, from Reb Shlomo Alkabetz, the Zayde from the Balachadoidi, which also took out, it says, Beis HaMikdash Shel Ma'ala Mechuvin Keneged Shel Mata. Okay, it's just a kitzur lashon, but the Rebbe has a diuk and everything. Mizrahi writes like this. What's Rashi trying to say? What's bothering Rashi is we know there's a big rule in Rashi. Rashi doesn't give unsolicited information. If a child might ask a question, if your average 5-year-old will go, Rebbe, I have a question, Rashi is going to answer it. If the boy has no question, Rashi is not going to answer it. Rashi is not a collection of pieces of information. There's an obvious question. What's the obvious question? Mizrahi says, it should say, who did Eibishter prepare it for? The place I prepared. It should say, I prepared for you. So, and that's why Rashi likes the second shot better also, because according to the Medrash, when you say Achinoisi and it's for me, that means I built a Beis Hamikdash Lamayla, Mechuven connected the Beis Hamikdash Shamata. You don't have to say the word li, because Achinoisi li.
It's li, yeah.
Okay. Sitzcham says a similar thing. No like Achinoisi loch meboyle ma aval Achinoisi sta mashmala atzmai. You say Achinoisi loch. Okay. Let's read quickly the Tanchuma, which is really the source of Rashi. Obviously, Rashi, as we read this shitted, Rashi is not a collection of Medrashim, but still, Rashi is saying things from Medrash Chazal. Just sometimes he picks this, sometimes Ma'apach Talosh, different Losh. But still, the Medrash Tanchuma is a mocker. Hine Neuche Shalech Malach V'necha, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Moshe L'Fnecha, Ani Mishalech V'lo L'Fneim. Amar Moshe, im lefana ata meshalech eine mevakish ela va'ata yelechna adoinoi bekirbeinu. Lema ben Rishon Malachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Amar LaMoshe Neicha Shalech Malach V'Shiva Einei Chafetz Alalach. So we see that there's an unbelievable mile on the Rishonim. Moshe Rabbeinu, which is called the Rishonim, he only wanted the Eibishter. He didn't care Malach Shmalach. I don't care. I only want the Eibishter. Yeshua ben Nun ro'asa Malach v'nafla panav shenema v'yipol Yishua panav ha'atza v'yishtachu v'malay alonu ata oil im letzarenu amar b'tzchik ma'atza v'malach im shem alonu ata im letzarenu nischol psak v'tachat separon neragla v'yimar loy kitza ani sar tzov Hashem ata bosi ayishtei pamim bosi l'hanchel asisrol ani hu shebosi b'mei Moshe Rabach v'docha oisi v'loy rotza she'elech imay. I came by Moshe Rabbeinu's time. The Eibishter said, I came. Moshe Rabbeinu sent me home. He said, not interested. Now I came a second time. Yeshua wanted to do business with the Malach. So it's Kilu the Medrash a little bit criticizing Yeshua.
That he's loying himself.
Yeah, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to deal. It's like that thing with the Alter Rebbe.
Yeshua was Moshe Rabbeinu's main Talmud, that he didn't pick up that lesson that Hashem himself and not the Malach. It's just a horror. It's not a question.
Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's a losh in the Gemara. The Gemara says about the different that Akel Agodla Gibber Vanoira that Anshknes Agdela put them bad. But there were 3 Nevi'im that one he took out a Godel and then a Gibber and the third one a Noira. So because like Daniel said, well, where's the Abish's where's the Abish's Noida? The Jews are suffering. He took so the Gemara says the Anshkin put it all back and they had a hope shot. So the Gemara says and the other three Nevi'im, Daniel couldn't think. They couldn't be dishonest with the Rabbanu Shalom. If they were upset, they said it the way it is. They couldn't be dishonest. If Daniel was upset, where's the Neiros of Shalach Kodesh Baruch Hu? He was honest. He had to be very honest. Anyway, here's a little different. What I'm saying is that by tzaddikim, they don't say things because it's in the script. Moshe Rabbeinu, we see the story of the Alter Rebbe when he used to roll in Dveikus on the floor, and he say, "Ich will Jagarnet, ich will nicht dein Gan Eden, ich will nicht dein Olam Haba, ich will manage with dir allein." He didn't read it from the script. That's the way he felt. That's the way he felt.
So he spoke Yiddish, Moshe Rabbeinu? I think Rabbeinu is not Rabbeinu.
But Yeshua, that was Yeshua. Yeshua's name Moshe Nechama. Yeshua's not reading from a script. Yeshua was his avodas Hashem was Shaykh to Malach, so he accepted the Malach. Okay.
Also, we pull some, you see it in now that they're in Eretz Yisrael, it's a different ballgame.
You keep the mitzvahs, okay. This is one of the psukim which make clear to us, make mechuvaros, that make clear to us, that the Beis Hamikdash here in this world is facing up, is mechuvan, is interlocks with the heavenly Beis Hamikdash. But if you notice that Rashi wrote it the other way, lahefach. That Rashi says Beis Hamikdash Shalmayla Mechuvan Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalmata, and the Medrash says Beis Hamikdash Shalmata Mechuvan Keneged Beis Shalmayla.
Is that any different?
It makes no difference. The Rebbe was a nitpicker. I'm sorry to say these words. The Rebbe was like a nitpicker when it comes to Lashonos of Chazal. But the truth is, you have to hear what the Rebbe's mahalach is. Rashi was, like I say this all the time, wasn't like 4 o'clock in the morning. He didn't want to look up the Medrash Tanchuma. It's all the same thing. Every word of Chazal say b'diuk otzim, and a lot of the Rebbe's Torahs go to diuk niflon. Every word in Rashi, every word in Chazal. That was the Rebbe's mahalach. If the Medrash says Beis Hamikdash shalamata, Mechuvan Hamikdash shalamayla, and Rashi says the opposite, Beis Hamikdash shalamayla, Mechuvan Hamikdash shalamata, there has to be a pshat. Obviously, there's later secrets in halacha and in Nagoda, but there has to be a pshat that Rashi was saying one thing, and the Medrash was saying slightly something differently, and that's why they said opposite lashonos. And when you see the pshat, it's beautiful. It's a shank. It's alive. Okay, so let me go through quickly. The Rebbe has a few questions over here. The Meforshim say that Rashi's problem is Asher Chinoisi. I prepared. It should say Asher Chinoisi li, or Asher Chinoisi loch. And Rashi, the Rebbe says, we don't find the Pshut Shemikah that should be a problem. For example, it says V'tovoyach tevach v'hochim. Yosef said, he didn't say v'hochim lohem, v'hochim li. It's because from the brothers came, they said, take a cow, slaughter it, make a supper. For who? For me and for them. I mean, and all the psukim, it's understood. Same thing here. It's very schwer to say that this is really what was bothering Rashi. And if this is really what was bothering Rashi, so Rashi should have just said one word. When the pasuk says is Achinoisi, he should have just said Lochem. He adds a whole bunch of words. Asher zimanti lochem. Why does he have to change? He should have said Asher Achinoisi lochem. He changes the word of the pasuk and he adds words. Why is he getting so busy? He just add one word. Asher Achinoisi lochem. So what? Right, we know the type. So what was it? According to Old Mefarshim, all that Rashi is want to really say is the word lochem. And then, but he thought it doesn't like the word lachem. So the second pshat is li, and in li it doesn't have to say so befedish in the pasuk. So that's what Rashi should say that. And then what's bothering the Rebbe is another thing is that what's up so funny pshat. This is one of the psukim. Rashi wants to show you that he's like an expert and he knows other psukim. Like we find several times that Rashi says it. He says it in Pashas Vayetze. He said that Rashi says this is the gate to heaven. That you should know that the Beis Hamikdash Shalmayla is mechuv k'neged Shamata. And then the Rashi says it again also. Mikdash Hashem Koinani Yadecha, when the Jews went out of Mitzrayim and they said the Shira. Rashi says that the Beis Hamikdash Shalmayla mechuv k'neged Shamata. And over there Rashi doesn't say Zeu echad min hamikra. Why is Rashi all of a sudden saying Zeu echad min hamikra? It's got funny lashon. What is Rashi trying to bring out? What is Rashi trying to bring out? Okay, that's a shaila. And as I said, what bothers the Rebbe is two things. Why did the Tanchuma said that the Beis Hamikdash Shalamata is connected to Beis Shalamala? And Rashi makes it the other way around. Why did he change the lashon the opposite? And also, according to the Girsa from Reb Shlomo Alkabetz's grandfather, and why is it in the other two places he says Beis Hamikdash Shalamala Mechum connected Beis Hamikdash Shalamata, and over here Rashi omits the words Beis Hamikdash, and everything is b'diuk. So what's the diuk here? Okay, so let's start with the pshat, and then the Rebbe has a beautiful thing up here. Halacha. A lot of times the Rebbe said that if you look in deep in Rashi, you find things in halacha. So first the pshat. The Rebbe says he thinks that what's bothering even a child, a 5-year-old child, is when you learn the word hachana. Even if a child didn't learn Hilchah Meseches Beya and what's hachana, Shabbos to Yom Tov to Shabbos, and he doesn't know that there really is this whole discussion: what's called hachana, what's not called hachana. If you just pick something up from one day Yom Tov, second, that's not hachana. That's fine. You're allowed to pick something up, but if you start schlepping barrels from the cellar, he doesn't know all this. But the word hachana means that you chop tomatoes, potatoes. Make achonas for Shabbos. What does a kid know? What does that word achona mean? Achona means you're doing something. Here, what did the Eibishter do? He said, Adarabah, he said, I will send a malach. He will come. He will chase them away. We will have. So how do we say Asher hachinoisi? You say Asher kvar nasati lechem, Asher hiftachti lechem. What does it mean Asher hachinoisi? Therefore, Rashi says that in Pshuta Shemikra, the word hachinoisi could also mean hazmana. What is hazmana? What's hazmana? What's hazmana? Invitation. Now, when do you send out invitation? You make a bar mitzvah beforehand. You don't send it the night of the bar mitzvah. The people are already busy. You want them to come. So you send them 2-3 weeks in advance. Sometimes you need twice. So you have to send an invitation a few weeks in advance. So Rashi is saying that hachinoisi here doesn't mean I chopped potatoes or potatoes. Hachinoisi over here means hizmanti. Hizmanti doesn't mean hizmanti like you might think. Hizmanti here means maloshan hazmona, that I made an invitation for the Jewish people to come into Eretz Yisrael.
That was by the perspective.
Exactly. But this was not hachinoisi. Doesn't mean over here maloshan achona. But it bothers Rashi that using the word hachona, and hachona usually means that I did something. I chopped, I went, I bought, I shopped, I did something. L'chayr the Eibishter did nothing. He made an invitation that the
That's
Jews
also doing something.
Okay, so the Rashi likes. That's why Rashi emphasizes it. That really in pshat this is fine. But a little bit, Rashi says a lot of times that if he's not so comfortable with the pshat, he'll bring a medrash, even though it's a medrash, it's not a pshat. It doesn't go well in pshat, but it's miyashiv a little bit. Because if the second pshat that Rashi says, there is a mokum, that the Eibishter Pasha took bricks and cement, physical bricks and cement, but conceptual bricks and cement, and the Eibishter built a Beis HaMikdash mechuvan l'mayla, that eventually when the Yidden are going to build a Beis HaMikdash and Lamata on Har Hamariya, it's going to be click, 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 click. It's going to Beis HaMikdash Lamala will click in to the Beis HaMikdash Lamata. I already built it, says the Eibishter. Now the word hachana makes much better. It flows much better. The word hachana. The Eibishter was meichen. He took cement. He took bricks. Again, even a child understands not physical cement, physical bricks, but still, whatever it means, it means. The Eibishter says, I already prepared a Beis HaMikdash in heaven. So when you come into Eretz Yisrael, you should know there's already a Beis HaMikdash built in heaven. Now you have to take rocks and bricks and gold and silver and build the Beis HaMikdash on earth.
There's no Mishkan in heaven as
right. It doesn't seem that way exactly.
That's interesting.
And no, you should ask even more, because it's mashma that this is not going on Shiloh and Noiva Givim. It's mashma, it's Loshen singular, not I built a few places. It's mashma we're talking about Beis Olam, that Eibishter knew which place it's going to be. Right. Right.
I'm just saying that
he's asking a good question.
Right? Not only for the Mishkan, right? And not only there was no Mishkan Shemayim, there was for the 369 years in Shiloh. We don't say there was anything Shemayim.
Really?
57 years in Noiva given. But for Yerushalayim, it was already built. It was already built. I already built it in heaven.
Do we say that when there was a Chorban of the Bati Mikdash, it was a Kaviyachol, a Chorban in Shemayim?
No, we don't say that. No, we don't say that.
There isn't a Chazal to that.
No.
There was
sounds like it's still there. It's still there.
That's too much.
That's right. It's still there. It's there. So
it's almost like when we eat or get aura, it's still in the hard drive,
right,
somewhere up there, and it's still in this hard drive in Mayim.
In the cloud.
It never disappears completely.
All right, we were talking about the other day about remembering it.
Yeah,
in the cloud.
So it's the same concept,
right? But over there, it's even better. Here, it's better. Here, the Eibishter said, before you even lay one brick, this is hundreds of years before David the Melach discovered where's the place. And the Eibishter says, I already built it. I already built it. I already built it. Now you understand why Rashi made this the Loshen the opposite of the Tanchuma. Rashi is trying to say a different thing. The Rashi say the Tanchuma is saying you should know that the Beis HaMikdash, and you should know the Beis HaMikdash Shalamata is not stam. It's mechuv and it clicks into the Beis HaMikdash Shalamayla. But Rashi is saying the other way around, that even though you didn't lay one brick yet, you should know, I already built the Beis HaMikdash. That's why the language, Asher Echinoisi, and that's why the word Hamokim works. Again, even though Pshat Rashi is not so concerned, because Hamokim, you would think means Mokim HaMikdash. So the Rebbe says the truth is in Pshat, it's not so terrible to say that a whole country is called Hamokim, because we find by Reuven, Gad, and Chatzis, Shevet, Menashe, when they spoke to Moshe, they said, Hamokim, Mokim, Mikna. And when they said Hamokim, they're referring to a huge swath of land. So in Pshat, the word Mokim could mean a whole land. It's not so terrible. But still, a little bit, that's not usually. Usually when we talk about a land, we talk Eretz. Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Yazer, Eretz Mitzrayim. So a little bit, it also works better for the Medrash when you say Hamokim Asher Echinoisi. Oh, Mokim HaMikdash. So it also that the word makom also works a slightly better according to the Medrash.
Every time we said makom, they mean the Hamikdash in the Torah.
And he's saying usually makom means makom hamikdash.
Yeah.
And so the Rebbe's brilliance that he found that Taka there is a pasuk hamokim mikdash, which is talking about a land. So the Rebbe says it's not so terrible in Pshat to say hamokim asher echinoisa means the whole Eretz Yisrael. But still, a little bit, if you think about it, usually when we say Eretz Yisrael, we're saying Eretz. And Mikdash, we say Mokim HaMikdash. We're Mispal Keneged Mokim HaMikdash. So another 2 points for the Medrash. Therefore, it actually brings the Medrash, because this Medrash is a little bit, makes it flow, makes sense. A child might ask, but it's funny, the Eibishter said, I built the Beis HaMikdash Lamayla. And right after he says that who is there? Nani, the Hiti, the enemies of the Jews. If the Eibishter built a Beis HaMikdash up there, what are the enemies doing there? So Rashi says he didn't build it today. We find it's Echad Mikros. It's only one of the Mikros. Go back. You already found the Pashas Vayetze. Vayetze Yaakov Be'Sheva, and he slept, and there was Shara Shemayim. The Eibishter built it when there were still animals there. He needed to put rocks around his head to protect himself. So the Eibishter built it already before. It's not, because if you think that right now the Eibishter built it 5 minutes ago, I just finished building it. So say, like, it's funny, you just finished building it, and who is there? The Goyim. How come it's not, it's... So the answer is no. The Echem Mikros go back to the original Mikros. It's been built already a long time ago. Okay, the Goyim are still there. Okay, that's the pshat. That's the pshat. So anyway, so let's summarize the pshat. What bothers Rashi is the word, and this is really what he quotes. Asher achinoisi. Hachona usually means that I did something with my hands. I chopped wood. I prepared. I did.
Nachinoti is also the pes.
Yeah, I already. Yeah, exactly. I already made achana. Which achana did Eibushter make? So therefore, Rashi says that sometimes the word achana can mean hazmana. I made an invitation. The Brisbane Absalom, I gave an invitation to the Jewish people. But a little bit it bothers Rashi. He says that's a pshat, but a little bit bothers him. So therefore, he says no. Achana means I built.
More of tacha to Avram Avinu.
But you can call it. But you can call it hazmana. You can call it hazmana. It's more than hazmana. It's hazmana plus plus. But it says mana. The Rashi says, but I have a medrash which will make it even more sweet. It's sweeter because David said, I already made achona. I built the base of Mikdash in heaven. And as soon as you get there at Yisrael and you're going to find the place, Yeshana, I already made the achona and it's already sitting there. Okay. The Rebbe says we can find a halacha question that comes out of this Rashi. A cute thing. The Gemara has a whole machlokes between Abaye and Rava about Hazmona Milza, Hazmona Lav Milza. We paskin like Rava, Hazmona Lav Milza. This is relevant to a lot of halachas. For example, what's a Hazmona thing?
You built a shul. If this room, if you when they built this house,
you build a bad.
Yeah, even here in Chirping.
It's in the table. It's in the table. It's hiding in the table.
When they built this house, if it wasn't a shul, could you use it for other purposes? Would be an example.
Right. And there's a lot of other things. So one of them is where you make hazmona tashmishe kedusha, for example. Tashmishe kedusha. You designated a bag for a talis and film, but you didn't use it yet. If you do Maisa, it's something else. So once you did a Maisa and you didn't make a Tanai, you didn't make any Tanai at all. So I'm using this bag for talis and film. You're not allowed to use it for money or anything. Not allowed to put a book inside or a sandwich inside. Again, there might be today a leniency where we say bestam. So if stam people in the talis and film bag, they'll also throw in this and a sitter. So okay, because bestam, when a person did it, so that's different because today bestam people put in also, but the din before bestam, the din is if you once put in film in the bag and you're planning to use it as a film bag, that's it. It's a film bag. You can't use it for anything else. Because now it's tashmisha kedusha. It's more than tashmisha mitzvah. Your tzitz is a tashmisha mitzvah because you're doing a mitzvah. But this is more. It's tashmisha kedusha. It's a serious thing. A film or kedusha. So when you take a bag to use it for film, it's tashmisha kedusha. So there's a machloike. So we pass on like Rava that azmana lav milza. But still, even within Rava, there's a machloikes rishonim that maybe Rava only spoke about certain things like Tashmisha Baba Kedusha itself, about Kedusha itself. So the Mishnah Berurah Derech HaShulchan Aruch never talks about. For example, today there's a market to buy leather. I'm sorry, not leather. Cloth. You buy cloth. Yeah. So the cloth are made to Shem Kedusha Sefer Torah. Is a sofer allowed to take a little piece of cloth and write your name, very nice, to give you a souvenir. Is a sofer allowed to do that? Or little kids are coming to sofer, he's showing them this, he give each one a little piece of cloth and they doodle on it. Are you allowed to do it? Because when the cloth was made, it was made l'shem kedusha sefer Torah. So again, could be, but today it's a mute question because bestam we say that the person who said l'shem kedusha had in his mind that sometimes Torah vadas, all the Torah, Mir Yeshiva, Chaim Berlin will bring the kids in 4th and 5th grade to a sofer, and they'll cut a little piece, whatever. So it's all worked its way in, but say not with that, just bestam. Just taka machloikis. of Poskim. Some say that Hazmona Milsa, that because it was Muzman for the use of Sefer Torah Tefillah Mezuzahs, you're not allowed to use it for anything else besides Sefer Torah Tefillah Mezuzahs.
Cool question. Are you allowed to do that before you make the Tanai?
No, you could make it tonight.
I'm saying before. Can you
before you start working with the leather, you make a tanai and say, I'm making it l'shem kedusha sefer Torah, but with the condition that if I want to take a little piece off and write it for little children, I'm allowed to do it.
I'm saying before you start that process.
You're allowed to make the tanai.
Okay. But are you allowed to allow your children to write your name before you start the process of turning it into a separate Torah?
No. Only if you made it tonight.
Only if you made it tonight.
Only if you made it tonight.
Okay.
Only if you made it tonight. Because if you didn't make it tonight, you ran into this discussion.
Okay.
Some say, Hazmona Milsa, because I said that these leathers, these cloth are going to be used for Sefer Torah Tefillah Mezuzahs. So that's it.
Okay.
And others say, no, we say Hazmona Lav Milsa. So Rava holds always Hazmona Lav Milsa. And Lapoil, we say it's Kedai to be Machmir. But again, like I said, it's not such a strong issue today because today it's made. It's not like every sofer makes his own cloth. There are a few people that make cloth.
Yeah.
And very few people make cloth.
Yeah.
So if you're going to ask that person, he's going to tell you, and some of those people are lumdum too. So they know those few halachas. They say we already made this tonight that if you need to use a little piece, don't worry, you're allowed to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the Rebbe says that you could say that this is the machlokes between the Pashtup Pshat and the Medrash. According to the Pashtup Pshat, when we say Achinoisi, we could mean Hazmona. Hazmona, invitation, that means designation, already could use the word Hachona. So in other words, Hazmona Milsehi. But according to the Pshat and Medrash doesn't like that to say Achinoisi. Hazmona means Achinoisi. Come on, you have to do something. So the Medrash says, no, the Eibush Hataka did something. He actually built a Beis HaMikdash in heaven. Oh, so the difference in the Pshat and the Medrash, that's the question. When we say we did Hazmona, could that be considered Hachona or not considered Hachona? The Pshat says Hazmona is Hachona, Hazmona Miltzi, and the Medrash says no, Hazmona is not Hachona, Hazmona Lav Miltzi. So we see that the difference in the Pshat of the Pshat and the Medrash has a bearing on a very important question in Halacha, Machlokas Abaye Verova, that translates in a Machlokas between Poskim when it comes down to building a shul, a leather or this or that, questions about Hazmona Miltza. It's just beautiful to see that the Alter Rebbe said that if you learn Rashi, the Alter Rebbe was very, very big into Rashi. The Alter Rebbe said that he once traveled incognito. He was like a lot of Gedolei Yisrael had that derech. Also the Grov traveled for 3 years. Like no one knew him, who he is. He a lot of times suffered. This. I was a big derech in tzaddikim then to Brave Golos. And the Alter Rebbe said he came to a place and he saw a Yid is learning Gemara Rashi. He doesn't learn Tosfos. So he's listening. And he learned that young. So he said, why are you not learning Tosfos? I don't understand Tosfos. I can never understand any Tosfos. So Alter Rebbe asked him,
Tosfos is harder than Russians, for sure.
Oh, so the Alter Rebbe was, but he looked like he was a brilliant guy. He didn't look like a guy that, that needs a little bit of help from the art scroll Gemara. So the Alter Rebbe said, let me hear. Well, what don't you understand? So he started to learn. He started the Gemara, and he learned the Rashi. I thought he's good at in Yiddish, the whole Rashi. He said the whole Rashi. And he said someone might ask a question, but really the Pshat and Rashi is Azayin. And then he looks at Tosfos. Tosfos asks the question he asked. But I understand, we already answered it. So what's Tosfos asking? Next. So he went through the entire Gemara. He only understands Rashi and he can't begin to understand Tosfos. He doesn't understand the Tosfos. Because Toys is always asking Rashi, but he already thought through that Rashi so well.
One step ahead.
Right. That he could never figure out what was the questions that the Toys asked. He understands Rashi.
Yeah, if it was only if Tosfos only did that, sometimes Tosfos will bring from another Gemara that goes differently. It's not just Rashi.
The Alter Rebbe was very, very big into learning Rashi. The Alter Rebbe said that if Rashi is Yena Shel Torah, the wine of Torah, we get dafka through learning with Rashi, and the same thing with the Gemara, that the dafka comes through learning Rashi. So we see that there was this unbelievable thing. And so the Rebbe a lot of times tried to show that even things that in the Yukim and Rashi, like here, that we have was bothering Rashi, what's the word? Hachinoisi. And according to Pshat, Hazmona could be called Achona. And according to Medish, doesn't make sense. So the answer is Taka. The Eibusha wasn't just made Hazmona. He actually built a Beis HaMikdash in heaven.
Yeah.
So that has a bearing, that's Yena Shel Torah, that has a bearing in a sugya in halacha, that when we say Hazmona, is that called Hachona? Or Hazmona is not called Hachona, and has actually an afkamin in halacha. A lot of times the Rebbe went on to explain later about how this can have a bearing in Drash, or in Soid. Punkt in the Sikha, the Rebbe didn't go on to explain it al pi Drash and al pi Soid.
What did he do by himself as Nazir?
Huh?
What did he do by himself as Nazir? It was no Rashi.
I thought he was stuck. Stuck. Yeah, it's an unbelievable thing. The emes is a lot of times if you learn a sugya very well, you really put yourself into the sugya, and you learn every word of Rashi, and you really. So you start seeing the emes. You start seeing all the clarity. You see what Rashi is saying, and you could see how Tosfos has a different angle of looking at everything, and therefore he might be bothered by a question. But you clearly see when you learn a sugya well, you could see what Rashi is saying, and you see how everything is clear in Rashi. So okay, but let's finish off with just Stam. I said about the Mallach. The Mallach is coming. That this is a story they say, but I've never found a good source for it. But okay, it's fine. That the person came to the Baal Shem Tov and he said he wants to see Eliyahu and Avi. So he said, if you want to see Eliyahu and Avi, he said, Bisum Pesach, there's a family in a town, they're very poor. Bring them everything they need for this daughter, and you'll see Eliyahu and Avi. So he went there for the first Seder, he doesn't see Eliyahu and Avi. The second Seder, he's bringing stuff with him, and he comes, and he hears the little kids on the other side of the door, he hears them screaming, Eliyahu and Avi's coming. Because they didn't know who he is. A guy shows up from another place, and he brings everything they need for Yom Tov.
Yeah.
Eliyahu Navi's coming. So he understood what the Baal Shem Tov said.
Yeah.
He could.
A little of all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that this is a. Avisha says, "I'm going to send you a malach." So, like I mentioned yesterday, that there was this. There was I poked as I was telling a story. This guy's grandson walked in here. That there was the Rebbe sent a shliach to open up a yeshiva in New Haven. He was there for 50, 60 years. He opened the yeshiva, is still running. And he passed away in 1992.
Wow.
And
That was
what Rabbi Hech.
My father grew up in New Haven.
So the Achetun, the Lubavitch Yeshiva in New Haven.
Yeah, I think my father went there very young for a few years.
I think that was opened in 1944, I think. So it's a pretty old yeshiva.
Okay.
It's a day school.
Yeah, my father mentioned it.
Yeah?
He grew up in New Haven.
So Rabbi Hecht once said he can't do it anymore. He's giving up, and so the Rebbe said he's sending him back up. He's going to send someone.
Wow.
So he called up Rabbi Chadikov, the Rebbe's secretary. That where's the guy never arrived. So Rabbi Chadikov said that Rebbe said to tell him that he already sent a man. His name is Moshe Nissenhech. It's himself. And he'll tell him how he has unbelievable koiches that is hidden in him, and he has to unleash it.
That's funny.
It's funny. Even if he didn't buy it.
Yeah. I was once. I heard that Rabbi Ryan Rebbe that sold us on ice. It's funny. I guess the Rebbe did it to more than one person.
Yeah. He made a very powerful point because sometimes we think we don't have the answer, but we have to dig inside ourselves, and it's there the entire time.
Right,
We have to find it.
right. So the Eliyahu Novi might be here and the Malach might be
Yeah.
here.
Can you count them to the minyan?
Yeah. We need.
We need
Oh, so we got them in.
Also-
Yeah, I heard
Okay.
somebody's leaving.
Oh.
Somebody left.
Huh?
Yaakov! I heard the doors.
No, you didn't.
He's
here.
down, but he's not the.
Yeah. Thank you, Rabbi.
Motion.
Thank you for